Woo! What's going on, guys? Orange Form coming at you with another video. Been a while since I did a video, but just want to talk about some Detroit Lions stuff. Detroit Lions did sign a free agent linebacker, Zach Cunningham. Now, I know I don't get into every single video or every single news about the Detroit Lions like I should. I like to pick and choose kind of what I like to talk about. And this is the guy that I kind of like to talk about. Brad Holmes picked up some depth here. Insurance, and we'll talk about that at linebacker. Cunningham brings a little bit of leadership, some vet presence to the linebacking room. They did waive linebacker Abraham Boplay to make some room for Zach Cunningham. Now let's talk about Zach Cunningham, his college stats. It's from a long time ago, guys, with the Vanderbilt Commodore in the SEC. 3 years there. 295 tackles, 41 tackles for loss, 8 pass deflections, 7 fumble recoveries, 7 forced fumbles, and 6 sacks. And you're like, why do you talk about something that happened back I think he was drafted back in 2017. He was back 2017, second round, 57th overall by the Houston Texans. Now, I like to kind of talk about the college days too. I like to throw those numbers out because at Vanderbilt, he was a high volume tackler, and that's what he has been in the NFL. I think back in 2016, he actually led the SEC in tackles for his position or overall. So he's a high volume tackler. He's 30 years old. He's 6'3". He's about 235, 240 pounds. His NFL stat now, he's been 8 years in the NFL. This is going to be year 9. He's been with the Texans for about 4.5 years. Titans for about a year and a half as well. Eagles, Broncos. Broncos picked him up last year. Played for the 2023 Eagles as well. Like I said, I throw those, the Texans 4.5 and Titans 1.5 because he was on both of those teams during the 1 year because he was released by the Houston Texans for COVID violations and punctuality problems. So I don't know if he was a problem in the locker room or he maybe became a little bit of a cancer going on in Houston there, but he was let go. He was released and picked up by the Titans, and he never really stayed around with the Tennessee Titans. Brad Holmes. Everybody says, "Oh, Brad Holmes, he never picks up these character guys." He was a character guy in Houston. Had his best years as a Houston Texan. But he by the end of that little tenure in Houston, he was causing a stir. So whatever happened there, he was released. He was a pretty good linebacker. Now in the pros, his stats: 709 tackles, 31 tackles for loss, 13 quarterback hits, 4 fumble recoveries, 5 forced fumbles, 23 pass deflections, PBUs, pass breakups, only 1 interception, only 6.5 sacks. 86 games started, though. Pretty much thrown into the fire as a rookie. Yeah, I think he started 13 games as an NFL rookie for the Houston Texans. And his 78.1 completion percentage against when targeted in the passing game is pretty high. So round it off to 80%, let's say. So we'll do some quick math here, guys. So every 10 passes thrown his way, 8 of them are getting completed, which is not a very good number. So I'm going to kind of tell you, but before that, his biggest years as a Texan, obviously, he had 164 tackles in 2020, led the NFL actually too. So did it in college, did it in the pros. You're kind of feeling what I'm trying to get at. High volume tackler. This is what this guy is. Plays the run really well. 2019, 2020 were his best years. Couple years with the Texans, well over 100 tackles. Obviously 164 2020, but he had 140 something in 2019, I believe, too. And then he's just a big time tackler. So this is what he is. Okay, this is what I'm going to try to tell you guys. I'm not going to try to make this a super long video, but he's a run and chase type linebacker, run stopper. That's what he kind of is. He can run sideline to sideline. He's got some blitzing ability. He's got the quarterback hits. He's got a couple quarterback hits, a couple sacks, but he's not really a guy that is a crazy playmaker. Okay, he's not going to get a lot of picks. He's not going to get a lot of sacks. But he's athletic. Okay, not that great in coverage, like I alluded to. 78.1% in completion percentage against is not very ideal. He's insurance though. Okay, because and he's a high volume tackler. That's what I wrote down. So when I say insurance, you guys know what's going on here, man, with this this linebacker room. If you don't, I'm gonna try to keep you up to speed as much as I could. Okay. I haven't read too much about what's going on with Alex Anzalone. Okay, apparently he's in his last year of his contract. Last year of his contract, his final year, and rumor has it that he wants a new deal. So he's not showing up to OTAs. I don't know if Anzalone has done this prior, not been an OTA guy, because a lot of guys don't go to OTAs. A lot of veterans don't go. Now, I would think with the Lions, though, Anzalone would be there. I don't remember in the past if he's done this. So I can't fully say that he's sitting out and asking for money. That's the rumor. That's what's going on the internet right now. Obviously, I don't have that inside information, but from what I'm hearing, from all the videos out there and trying to kind of find out myself, it sounds like he's sitting out because he wants an extension. Okay, now he's got 1 year left on his deal. I'm sure he's going to come up with training camp. Training camp won't be till probably mid-July or whatever, but right now there's OTAs going on. And I can't wait to do my reports from those practices, okay? But apparently he's sitting out. So this is an insurance move. Alex Anzalone possibly sitting out. Malcolm Rodriguez hurting himself last year, out for the season. Derek Barnes is coming back from hurting himself too, lost for the season. So, there's three linebackers right there that are, one that's out and two that are kind of gimped up right now. Barnes seems to be back. Rodriguez, I think, is slowly coming back. I don't know what his status is at the moment. But, you got Will linebacker, Alex Anzalone, Malcolm Rodriguez, Ezekiel Turner, Deron Gilbert, a couple of guys they re-signed. Middle linebackers, Jack Campbell, Grant Stewart, who they brought over from the Colts, and then Zach Cunningham kind of rounding off the middle linebacker spot. And then you got the Sam linebacker, Sam linebacker in the Detroit Lions organization defense has a lot of responsibilities. So Derek Barnes is there, Trevor Nowaski, who kind of, showed up a little bit last couple years, and then Anthony Pittman, the hometown kid from Detroit, kind of rounds off the Sam linebacker spot right there. So this move is insurance, and it's a depth piece. Now, he's 30 years old. He's going to be 31 in December. So he's getting a little bit long in the tooth. But he's not a bad player. But I don't want everybody to expect Zach Cunningham to be the guy that he was in Houston. Okay? He's had a lot of injuries happen in the last few years. Now, the Broncos picked him up last year. I don't even know if he was even on a roster at the beginning of the year, but I think he only played like 7 games, and he was mainly special teams and brought in sometimes on passing downs to blitz a little bit. He did blitz a little bit more as a Bronco. But his last couple of years, if you go look at his numbers, they're very much down. A lot of injuries, man. Elbow injuries, knee injuries, hamstring injuries. So he's been a guy that has kind of got nicked up the last few years. He was a really good linebacker for the Texans. Never a Pro Bowler, never an All-Pro, but solid. A starter. Like I said, 86 games started. So the experience is there. And this is what you're kind of getting with Zach Cunningham. People like to make fun of pickups like this. Already going through it already, man, with other Packer fans, Viking fans, Bears fans, picking up guys that are banged up. As of right now, this is what's happening, man. There's guys out there that are waiting for calls. And Zach Cunningham is not a bad football player. He's not going to win you championships, but he could be a part of a championship run. He could be part of a championship team. I think he's good depth. Does he stick around? When I look at this room, I don't see a lot of talent that's not pop off. Alex Anzalone is a decent linebacker. He's good. He can cover a little bit. He's been a little bit better of a cover linebacker his last few years. He's been a guy that that has racked up a lot of tackles the last couple of years as well. Rodriguez is a good backup. Turner, man, had to play some snaps that, kind of by default. Deron Gilbert doesn't really play. Jack Campbell's still kind of coming into his own year 3. Grant Stewart's a special teamer guy. He's kind of like that maniac. He's a special teams guy. Grant Stewart from the Colts. I really like that pickup, actually, for special teams. And then you got guys like Barnes, who's made a couple plays. He's nothing special. Trevor Nowaski, same kind of thing, playing by default and making a couple plays. And then Anthony Pittman is pretty much just a special teams guy, practice squad guy. So you look at this linebacking room, doesn't pop off. It's not a great linebacking room. So Cunningham could earn or win some meaningful stats. Now, like I said, he's sideline to sideline. He's going to play the run well. You don't really want him dropping back into coverage, but he can run a little bit with running backs and tight ends. But you really don't want him covering guys. It's not really his forte. It's not his thing. He is an athletic linebacker, like I said, but he's going to be 31 in December. So that's old in the NFL. You know what I mean? That's old. It's not old in real life, but in the NFL, it is. So, reality sets in. He could earn some snaps. He could be better than... I think he's a better linebacker than Grant Stewart. Grant Stewart's a little bit young. I think unpolished. Maybe he can get a little bit better this year. He did have a huge game with the Colts last year against the Dolphins. He had like 17, 18 tackles, maybe even more. But he's a little bit younger, obviously. But a guy like Zach Cunningham could crack the lineup at times. He can move him. You can move him on the outside. You can move him to the Will. You can move him to the Sam. He's a pretty smart linebacker too as well. So he's got that versatility that you really like as a linebacker. And he's in a room where he could probably earn some snaps. And that's it. Don't think this guy's coming in and being Ray Lewis. Don't think he's going to be Ed Reed, back there, man, intercepting passes. That's not what he is. That's not what he's coming here to be. He's a depth piece. He's insurance who could earn some playing time. And that's it. That's the video, guys. It's just that simple. A lot of experience, 9 years in the league, 86 games started. That's what Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell went after, and that's what they acquired. They acquired some depth, some insurance, and a vet presence, and a guy that's been there, done that. And that's it. That's it. Injuries are there. The injuries are real with the elbows and the knees and the hamstring injuries. He's had some injuries over the last few years, so you got to keep an eye on that as well. So hopefully this guy shows up in camp. I'm sure he will. The Lions don't really, Holmes and Campbell really don't like to bring in guys that aren't all in 100%. And we'll see what happens there. We'll see what happens there. But it's not a bad pickup. I don't think it's a world beater or a season saver. It's insurance. All right, guys. So that's it, guys. That's the video. I'll make that as quick as I could. But thanks for coming in, guys, and watching the video. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button at the bottom right. Don't forget to hit the notification bell up top. Bang, bang. And don't forget to like, comment, share this out. What do you guys think about Zach Cunningham coming in? It's a solid pickup, guys. It's a depth piece. All right? Detroit versus everybody. Lions, baby. Grit. Let's go. Boom.